Hustle. Pray. Eat.
Hello everybody and welcome to Hustle Pray Eat, the podcast, episode 21. What's 10 plus 9? 21. We are officially a grown adult now, so this is exciting. I am your host, Jade, or MsTeaPot, because we spill while the tea is hot, and Mark, the bad guy, is still away on tour. They're doing great things out there, so we're happy for him, and it is Women's Month this month, so we are excited to have my guest host be a very special lady to Hustle Pray Eat. I call her Mama LaDawn! Birthday girl, therapist, mother, wife, and I feel like you
grandmother,
and I feel like you hate this title, but First Lady.
Michelle Obama.
You are the First Lady of the Edge, because this is PE. You guys all know PE. You've all met PE. You've all heard about PE, who is co-owner of Hustle Pray Eat. This is his beautiful wife, LaDawn. Do you have a problem with the title of First Lady?
I have a title with the preconceived notions that come with it, and the stigma that comes.
And what are some of those?
She's on a shelf. Like, she doesn't do anything. She's a princess.
Mm-hmm.
She's, yeah,
like,
and that's not me. I'm like, get dirty. Like, let's
like
do
a
this
trophy
together.
kind of,
I'm not
kind
a
of thing.
trophy.
Because you are also a licensed minister, right? So what does that mean for those that don't know?
Okay, so I got my licensed ministry through Stephen's ministry, which is a counseling arm of the church or whatever. So, so I can marry. And so.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. And you are also a therapist, which is your main job, and you have your own practice called Hope Restored.
Yes.
And we will get into that a little bit later. But before we go any further, I just had to double back on some things that were spoken about in the last episode when we spoke about sexism. And we were discussing it, and we're saying, like, do I have any incidents of experiencing sexism or discrimination for being a woman? And I couldn't think of any. Like, I was just like, no, but I've been discriminated for being short when I was 2 years old, but that's a whole different thing. And then Sarah, she doesn't mind me sharing, she said, well, Jade, you would have experienced it being in ministry. And that's when I thought, that's true, because I remember there were people that had a problem with me preaching because I'm a woman, so they wouldn't come to church. So that in itself is discrimination. So I think the times I've experienced discrimination, I have not necessarily felt it, or because I don't feel like I acknowledge it if it's not done to my face. So have you had any incidents of sexism that you can remember?
Now, that's something I was talking to PE about in the car. I was like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
As far as sexism, but like racism? Absolutely. Black woman, absolutely. Yeah. But woman, not so much.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe, I mean, somebody could probably highlight it for me and maybe I'll see it, but
how about for you being in the church and being a licensed minister, when you was going through that process to become licensed, do you feel like, did they ever teach that it might be harder for you as a woman, or how was it approached there?
No, because the position is more of a lay minister, so not necessarily someone that will preach or bring the word or something like that. So I never felt like any weirdness about that at all. So just have it.
Okay. So I jumped straight in there, but I didn't ask you how your week was. So I want you to tell me how your week was, but do it through the scope of Hustle, Pray, Eat. So how did you hustle? How did you pray? And what has been feeding you this week?
Okay. So hustle-wise, I work 3 days a week, Tuesday to Thursday, and I had 26 clients this week.
In 3 days?
In 3 days.
26 different people?
Different people. And back to back. So like,
well, first of all, amazing, because it's your own practice, which is a year old. Yeah. Is it even a year old?
It's over a year old now. Yep, going into 2. Yep.
Going into 2 years, so that's amazing. First of all, but at the same time, because of your line of work, it's kind of sad at the same time, because it just means that there's a lot of people that need a therapist.
Absolutely.
So sorry, carry on. So you've been very busy with that.
Yeah, and so yes, there is a great need right now for mental health professionals to just have people that are willing to sit with someone else and share truth or help them work through processes. So yeah, that's been my hustle. Prayerfully, I've been selfishly praying for myself a lot lately, just to calm my angst, because I deal with anxiety myself.
Oh really?
So yeah, so just
sorry if you don't mind me asking, how does your anxiety manifest itself? Because I believe there's a broad spectrum of it, and it will look like different things for different people. And I feel like in the last few years, anxiety has been really like a buzzword. Like you see it a lot, and you know, people throwing it out there as a title or a label for themselves. But it might look different depending on who's speaking. So how does it manifest itself in your life?
For me, most of my anxious times comes at night, when everything is quiet, when there's nothing going on. Then I'm just up, wide awake, eyes wide, and just have a flooding of thoughts. So that's me. And then I'll have like heart racing, or like I'll get like super hot. I have to take off the covers or something. And then sometimes I'll just totally get out of bed. And go like a lot of times I set up a new prayer room. I've showed online, and
it's beautiful.
Love it. But I'll go in there now, and I'll just go and kind of lay on my chaise lounge, and I'll pray, and then center my thoughts by like writing down like what are the thoughts that are flooding my mind right now, and just start like jotting them down. And by the time I get through jotting them down and praying, I'm sleepy. Okay. So I'll go back and lay down.
Do you find it hard to apply what you teach to others in therapy?
A lot of times because
I feel like I'm great at giving advice to people, but when it comes to me, you need to come a little bit closer, sorry. Okay. When it comes to taking my advice, I feel like anytime I'm in a problem, I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I have to kind of put myself in the shoes of, if I was asking me, what would I say to myself? So do you find that difficult?
Not difficult, but I do find like when I'm in sessions, I'm like, oh, that was good. I need to use that. That was for me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, there's definite like truths that I feel like God gives me in the moment to share with someone, and most time it's for me too. So I apply it accordingly, and because I'm really careful about that too, because I'm big about like I don't want to tell somebody to do something that I wouldn't do, like, or that I'm not putting into practice. So even if I'm not in that moment, it's a self check. Yes, and I'm like, okay, yeah, take that and do something with that.
Absolutely. Yeah. And then what has been feeding you this week?
Okay. Wow.
I'm excited to hear. No, Tank, not you. Tank always needs a mention.
Lots and not Tank. But I love Proverbs. I love reading Proverbs, and I'll go back to it like often, just because it kind of helps like center me and gets me off of my own like stuff. And so Proverbs has been big for me this past week. And then even journaling has been huge. So it's like taking a word and breaking it down and seeing how it can be applicable in my situation in the moment. Because a lot of times we'll go into the scripture and just like read it, just like, but this is not just like your little nursery rhyme. This is something that we need to use for a roadmap for our lives. So just centering myself, taking my time, and applying it to my life specifically. And then even the lives of others too. Because I pour into a lot of other women and stuff outside of my practice that I get a word for often. And sometimes it's the weirdest thing ever. They'll get a crazy text in the middle of the night. Like, look, this is what you need to handle. Like, take care of this. Yeah. Jesus loves you though, but take care of this.
Absolutely. So, that's good. I'm really glad that you're feeding yourself that way, because I find it hard, like, to take that time for ourselves, and I think a lot of people miss it. And I think there's something, especially being a woman, well, I can only speak from a woman's perspective, like even when we are not mothers, we tend to put people first. We have that natural nurturing thing about us that we'll always make sure everyone's good, and then by the time you realize, like, oh, 1 second, I'm not good, Like I haven't looked after myself lately. So what does taking time for yourself look like for you, other than your journaling and prayer?
Okay. So self-care has always been a thing that I have to be intentional about, because you're right. We get so bound up in like taking care of other people and the house, the kids, the grandkids, the husband, or whatever, and job and everything else, that we forget that there's somebody behind that, and that person needs to foundationally be taken care of, or they're nothing to anybody else.
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm I'm a proponent of doing a self-care rhythm, like setting it in a calendar, being very intentional about it, and you know, submitting to it, because that's another thing. You can write it in the calendar, but if you don't submit to it, you just turn the page and go on to something else. But just like having
there's
time.
a difference between being organized and being disciplined. Sometimes we can be organized until we're blue in the face, but we don't follow what we write down. So
yeah. So having a rhythm that I'm just like, I'm pulling away. I'm like having that prayer time, but not even when I'm anxious, but like having a set prayer time or time with God. But then even like doing things that I enjoy, like crafting or thrift shopping or whatever, like going to get a pedicure or just having time to just breathe outside of work, outside of home, outside of, being a mama, being a grandma.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think that's so important. I think we've spoken about it a lot on this podcast, is like making sure that we're not pouring from an empty cup.
Absolutely.
Because eventually you'll just be talking and there's actually no weight or no spirit behind it, because you haven't taken the time to fill yourself up. So for me, Hustle Pray Eat this week, I haven't been well, so I've been having some headaches. So I've taken it really lightly with work. So I feel like it was a bit of a downtime for me. So I just stayed home for most of it. Worked from home. Everything is remote these days anyway. So it's easy to get the majority of the stuff done that I needed to get done. But then it picked up at the end of the week. So yesterday I had a worship night that I'd done poetry for. So during the week I was able to write and practice the poem. So that went really well last night. And then obviously today's the podcast. And then I'm preaching tomorrow.
Oh, nice.
So it's a busy weekend. And then pray. I have just been praying into everything that I've got going on this weekend. So Lord, just use me. That's always my prayer. It's very simple. I don't like to overcomplicate it. Just like, Lord, just use me however you would have me to be used. So that's my main prayer this week. And then what has been feeding me, so you guys know that I do a Bible study for the women on Zoom, and that is just it's just really feeding my soul right now, because I have some ladies from England who are new to the faith. So it's like really cool walking with them in these early days and just seeing their zeal and their excitement. So we were teaching from about Rahab. So we was talking about God's redemptive power in our lives. Like, God can use you where you are, how you are, and He will use you. He wants to use you. So if you are listening at home and you're in a place where you feel like you don't know who you are, you don't feel like you're worth anything, or you're feeling really low, just know that God can use you and He will use you. Don't let anybody write you off for being a woman, for being young, for being old, whatever it is that you feel and people are holding against you. And God sees that as your redemptive quality, and He will do something with it, because He is able.
Yes, He is.
He is able. So, okay, so we touched on you being a therapist. So, how did that come about in the first place? Was that always an interest of yours? Do you feel like it was always a call on your life? How did you get to where you are now?
Okay, so I mentioned a little bit about Stephen's ministry. That was kind of how I got into the helping ministry. That's what helping form of work. So that happened, I want to say 2000. Or something like that. But prior to that, I knew that I was just kind of called to like sit with people in their stuff and just like share with them. And because it came from a need of my own, that I felt like I had to be silent in a lot of ways and like hold things in and not share the troubles that we had, like even at home, like not share any of that stuff. And so I had to kind of sit with that.
Kind of like what happens in the house stays in the house, so people find it hard to open up.
Which is whack. Don't do it. But it's fine. But find a trusted friend though. Find somebody that you can trust to share things with. But don't suffer in silence.
Absolutely.
And I was suffering silently.
Wow.
So, so it came from a need of my own to have somebody culturally relevant even.
Yes.
Specifically, culturally relevant. Let me talk about that just for a second.
Yeah, talk about it.
So for me, to have someone that I can talk to that kind of relates with my background, that comes from kind of where I come from, was important.
Absolutely.
Not saying that someone that's not in my same culture couldn't speak to me and couldn't share with me truth. I can receive truth from that. But it was something about when I took a step beyond to talk to someone that was culturally relevant to me. It was huge. And then now I see, like in my work with African American women, sometimes you just need to hear that, girl, come on in here, sit down. Girl, take that wig off. Come on, look, that thing tight. Like, come on, sit down here. Let's have a conversation. Yeah. And then like feeling, someone feeling so desperate or feeling so like they don't have anything left. But just for someone to be to speak to them, be like, you know what, you got a lot going. Girl, you still got your edges. You better lift up some edges, better show somebody. Like, but just having somebody culturally relevant to be able to just share truth with, and then to be able to like help dismantle some of the taboos of therapy. It's not like you going to the shrink or like you going, somebody coming to pry information out of you. No, it's just someone wanting to sit with you in your stuff and kind of help you navigate it.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that because I noticed that in America, it's a lot more common for somebody to have a therapist. Like, it's not like a taboo thing really as much as it is in England. You don't really hear about it much at all, especially in the Black community, because we are coming from a place of what happens in the house stays in the house. Don't be telling everybody my business, don't embarrass me out there, or whatever it may be. I think that's very culturally ingrained in us. Has that been true for African Americans here? Well, obviously African Americans are here. Yeah. But, has that been true as well for African Americans? Was it taboo? Is it taboo? And where do you see it now?
Yeah, definitely. We are in a better place
than
we were. But in my years coming up, I'm 49 this weekend. Hello. So in those years, like coming up, like even in my 20s, even it was still very much taboo. And I think just in the last 10 years or so has it come more, prevalent that people are like openly saying, hey, I have a therapist.
Can you pinpoint or, put your finger on when that happened and why? What was the change? What was the shift?
I think, I do think had to be in the last even 5-10 years that people started being more open. I think social media has helped a ton. Like for people to just openly say, yeah, I have a therapist, or yeah, I am a therapist, or yeah, I struggle with anxiety, depression, or whatever. Like people being able to just be open and honest about their struggles, I think has helped move that into more transparent place.
Yeah, because it's true. Because I think like with the world of social media, you realize how we're not that different from each other. Yeah. Like the problems that one person has is not much different from another person's. It might manifest itself in a different way or have a different impact on each person. But really, the Bible says there's nothing new under the sun. There's nothing that happens under the sun that is surprising. And now with social media, we have an insight into so many people's lives at just the tap of a button. So you can slide and see, oh yeah, me too, me too, me too. That's why memes are such a big thing, because you look at that and be like, oh, I can relate to that. And then you think, oh, I thought that was only me. So when you start seeing more about, oh, I'm in therapy, I go to a therapist, it makes it more normalized, which is a great thing. So you were talking about having the importance of having somebody that's culturally relevant. Do you think has the pool of culturally relevant or African American therapists grown in that time as well?
Yes, definitely. It's grown, but there's still a great need. Still a huge need. Like currently my practice is full. I'm full. I can't take on anyone else. And I have a waiting list. Wow. And it's because, if someone calls and asks for it, because I'm a part of a group practice as well. And if someone calls for African American therapists, here I am, right. And I do have a pool of therapists that I'm connected to in Grand Rapids that I can like share, like someone needs a therapist, they take this particular insurance or whatever, and I can pass that on. But it's definitely a need. It's definitely a need.
So if you're out there and you feel God is calling you, right, now is the time because you are needed, you know. Somebody
Absolutely.
out there in the world needs you specifically.
Mhm.
You know, I really believe there's somebody out there that's listening that you feel a tug on your heart when you're hearing this because you know you're called to this, right? So just make the steps. So what are some of the first steps that you would take if you're going from somebody that's feeling called to it to actually get to a place maybe where you are, or maybe not have their own practice, but is a practicing therapist? What would the first step be toward that?
If it was like if it's someone that wants to go through like the education path to get like fully licensed and become a therapist, it would be like getting your bachelor's in psychology and going on to get your master's in psychology, clinical mental health as well. But if it's like you're a layperson in church and you want to be a part of a team of people that'll kind of be a trusted friend for someone to just like sit with them in their situation, Stephen's ministry is a good path for that.
Stephen's ministry. Okay,
Yeah.
so make sure, guys, don't sleep on what God is calling you to anymore. So, so 2020 was a rough year for a lot of people from start all the way to finish, and still you're still seeing the residue of last year even now. How did therapy change? Like, what is the difference between pre 2020 and COVID and post COVID? Did you see COVID's effect on people's psychological?
Absolutely. In so many ways. Depression, anxiety has been huge.
Wow.
Huge. Just, I think people, you know, struggling to figure out what are they going to do next or what's happening in the world. And like that brings on its own level of anxiety. But then even the uncertainty of financial situations and like people losing their jobs or not knowing, you know, how they're going to make ends meet. That was depression and anxiety and things of that sort too. But then even what I do counseling with couples and married couples, that has been a booming thing. Knocks on the door for marriage counseling. And then I'm like, as far as a African American marriage counselor, there's not many here.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it's hard to find. So I have a waiting list of couples that are waiting to see an African American woman therapist for marriage counseling.
And just quickly, because you mentioned woman, what is the balance between male and female therapists? Is it pretty even, or does it seem to be dominated by one?
Dominated by women.
Okay.
I believe, yeah. And not African American men.
Okay.
So that's even smaller pool is African American men.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay, so another big event that happened in 2020, which I'm sure affected a lot of people that you offer your services to, was the murder of George Floyd and everything that's happened racially. How did that play a part in what you did? Because I can only imagine.
It was huge, like not just for my clients but for me to have to sit with my clients in that and be able to kind of offer hope when I didn't feel any in the moment. So there was a lot of race-based trauma that was going on during that time where it just resurfaced for a lot of people. So after like when it first happened, that next week after that, I felt like I didn't even have anything to give anybody. So I had to take a break before I was able to even be present with people. So, but then when I went back, it was a lot of just trauma. Just thinking about like the trauma of living in a city and like being racially profiled and like all the stories and things were coming up and people sharing all the pain that they've endured over the years. It was heavy.
Yeah, because it felt like just everything. Like 2020 felt like a volcano year. Like everything just erupted and came to the surface. But which in a way is a good thing, because everything that you may have had to dig deeper and try and sweep from under the rug has now, come to the surface naturally itself, because it was such a traumatizing and erupting year. Absolutely. So now people are, wearing their heart on their sleeves, and nobody is being shamed for feeling a certain way, because we're all going through it, so it's not surprising. So I suppose that could have helped in a way as well. It's like get to the issues because they're more on the surface. Did you see that?
Oh, absolutely. And you can go like right in and say like certain buzzwords even to like start conversation even that would like people would just know kind of where you are because of current events and things that are going on. It's like, okay, so how are you dealing with such and such at your workplace? How is race roll out in you know different areas? So people on both sides, because I have like I don't have all African American clients. I have about half and half.
Okay, I want you to talk about that because that must have been an interesting dynamic around that time as well. So what was the differences around the time of the George Floyd murder? What were the differences of how your white clientele was dealing with it compared to your black people? What was that, and how was that for you?
Yeah, that was. I definitely need to say it was a total blessing because I think that no matter your race, I want to be a space for people to be able to share. And so what I had to do with my non-African American clients is like come straight in the door like, okay, this is your space. You need to be able to know that you can come here, even though I'm an African American woman, that you can share that, hey, I don't understand why they're marching. Or, hey, I don't understand why they're tearing up the city. This is our. I want you to be able to come in this space and be able to dismantle, and we can talk through all of that because that's what I'm supposed to do.
You have to take a very selfless position because you can't bring all of your emotions. You have to, like you said, be that safe place. So that must have been crazy.
And that's why I had to take a week because if I wouldn't have taken a week, I could probably popped off. I'm just gonna say it.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, so it took a week. So kind of like get to a place where I was like, okay, if somebody comes to me with something that they're wrestling with, I can sit with them in it. I can, walk them through healing of the whole thing. But you might have been wrestling that week before.
Yeah. So as it is Women's Month, and so the topics of gender and stuff like that come up a lot. So I just wanted to ask, do you see a massive difference in the problems that men come to you with versus women, or are we more alike than we would like to think?
I do think we're more alike than we'd like to think, because I think when you get past the hesitation that sometimes men have in sharing their feelings, and I will say that is a difference, like getting them there. Getting them in to actually come there and feel like they don't have to be weak to be there.
Yes.
Then they can share. I think our situations are pretty similar. Our levels of angst are pretty similar. So yeah, but it's just there's hesitation and apprehension to let it out.
For them to even probably to get to the therapist in the first place, to book their appointment and stuff like that. Do you tend to see it being men are encouraged by other people to go and do it, where compared to women who are more likely to say, I need this for myself?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think all of my male clients right now were like pushed by their wives.
Okay.
So I think they were definitely like pushed, but glad they did once they came, type of thing. But yeah, encouraged to do so.
And in your practice, you don't only see Christians.
Right.
Not only Christians come to you. So can you speak about navigating this space as a Christian woman, offering therapy to somebody that may not believe, because it's easy for us to, as Christians, to be like, take it to the Lord, and even you as a Christian, sometimes maybe that's all there is to say, but how do you navigate your faith in this?
I present myself definitely as a woman, an African American woman, but I am a Christian, absolutely. But my practice is not a Christian practice. My practice is across the board, absolutely. And issues are issues are issues. And I don't think that because when we start, we try to like spiritualize.
Yes, I was gonna
like every matter that we struggle with, that's not helpful for people. It's just not helpful. So when I have someone come in, I don't necessarily even need to know your faith background.
Okay.
Like I kind of almost don't want to know. And it's cool to know, and like we can vibe on certain things. I have some clients that say, "Can you pray for me? Can we pray together?" Absolutely, I'm right there with you. Come on, let's do that.
Yeah.
But then there's other times when it's just like, I don't have faith. And so I'm not about to proselytize you either.
Yeah.
I'm going to meet you where you are.
Absolutely.
And tell you, and help you work through your situation where you are. Like, whether you come in from, same-sex, relationship, whatever. I'm going to meet you where you are. And, because our problems are not so different. They're just not.
That's so true. So that is you navigating the therapy world as a Christian.
Absolutely.
So how do you navigate the Christian world as a therapist? So do you see that a lot? Like us, like the over spiritualizing, the only solution for everything is prayer and laying hands. Does that ever get frustrating for you as a therapist? Do you ever see somebody be like, you need therapy, but you're just trying to pray this away?
Yeah, and I cut straight through there because I absolutely cut
waste
straight
no
through
time.
There. No, because people perish, and that's the Bible, because lack of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Like, you need to know that you can have Jesus and a therapist. You can have that. So I say that, right out front. You can have Jesus and a therapist. We need both. God put, us here and our giftings here for a reason.
Absolutely.
And so we don't have to, we can rely on the physical people, the natural people that are here with us. And then we rely on God too. They're going hand in hand.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So because I suspect that a lot of people don't approach therapy or don't sign up or make the call is because they don't know what to expect, and there's a lot of anxiety even attached to that. So what are some of the things that you think are misconceptions of therapy, and how would you encourage somebody that feels like they need it but the misconceptions are clouding their mind? So start with the misconceptions of what therapy is.
Okay. So there's some misconceptions that you're going to come in and just pick me apart, or like make me tell stuff that I don't want to talk about right now. Or, and then if I tell you, it's not confidential. Like, you're going to share my stuff, or, are the courts going to get involved if I tell you something that I did? Because I think that's a lot of, with, African American families even have seen social workers and people, and people not demonizing CPS. Do your job. I get that.
Yeah.
But they've seen people come into their homes and dismantle their homes because of stuff that they said or they've admitted to.
Okay.
And they don't. And people, you got to be careful about.
So is there an obligation on you to keep everything confidential, even if it is criminal?
Oh, no.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So confidentiality is definitely a mandate of mine that I take. But if you are harming yourself or someone else, then I have to tell. I have to get somebody in. Not get somebody in to hurt you, but get somebody in to help you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are some others misconceptions?
That you're crazy. Like, if you're going to the head doctor, then you're crazy. And something wrong with you. So that's a huge one, I think, and I talk a lot about people of color because that's who I am. So that's a huge one for people, is that I don't want anybody thinking I'm nuts, or that I don't have myself all together, or that I'm not a strong woman even. Like, there's a lot of perceptions around being a strong. I need to be strong. I don't need, I don't have time to be
and
weak.
It's actually damaging.
Absolutely.
It is so damaging. Like, even though it seems like a it's a positive affirmation, I suppose, to be strong. But when the pressure and the expectation is that you are strong, then it people feel like they can pile everything on you. Absolutely. Or treat you however you want, because you're a strong black woman.
You got this.
You've got this, right?
You got this, right?
So my mom is also she's a mental health nurse.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, she's a mental health nurse. So these conversations are always so interesting to me. But for you and your own peace and mind, how do you unload, or how do you not take everything on? Because there's like 4 people that I deal with at a time, like through discipleship, and some of their problems drive me nuts. It's like every week it's something with a different person, but to have 26 people a week, 26, and your sessions are an hour.
50 minutes.
50 minutes long of hearing and going through people's problems or their situations times 26
Yeah.
times 52 for the year. So how do you protect your own self?
So that was my fear going into therapy, because I feel like I'm a very empathic person. And I feel like I take on people's stuff a lot.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, Lord, I cannot be in this field and do that. Like, I got to be able to separate this.
Absolutely.
And so I have not had an issue with it. And I totally think it's God. Like,
absolutely.
I totally think it's God. And I do take time, like, when I'm done with session, to sit for a minute to kind of like separate myself from it. And even like mentally draw a line in the sand, like, it's time for family now. Or it's time for, this now. Oh, next time for next client. Like, so I take 10 minutes in between to kind of like center myself, and I move to my next client even. But I truly think God protects me.
That's amazing.
Because I'll tell you what, it's something totally different when I have to minister to people that are in the church or my family.
Oh, talk about it. What's the difference?
It's different because you're doing life with them. Like, I'm just doing 50 minutes with my clients.
Right.
I'm doing life with these people, and I love them deeply.
Yes.
So when they struggle or when they have any kind of stuff, it grieves me. So I have to, like, seriously, when I'm in that prayer room, a lot of times it's for somebody else.
Yes.
It's not about like anything that me and my family, and well, some of them, but nothing that me and PE are dealing with.
Yeah.
But I'm in that prayer room for somebody else because it weighs on me. It weighs on me, and I think it's because of that. I'm life on life. I love my people.
So are you careful to not take people that you truly love as clients?
Oh, you can't.
Oh, you can't?
No, you can't.
Really?
No, you can't.
I didn't know that.
No, it's not lawful.
Seriously?
Yeah.
What is the reasoning? Just that it's just too close for comfort?
Too close for comfort, but it's against our code of ethics as well. Like, that's called a dual relationship.
Really?
So which means, like, I couldn't take...
This is interesting, guys, isn't it?
Look, I couldn't take on, like, Allison. I couldn't take on my... and
so many times I'm like, Allison, why don't you go to LaDawn?
No.
It's like...
that's why.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Like, but it's not just for my protection, it's for her protection. Like, she couldn't really come in and totally dismantle and, like, be totally free to come to her auntie mama. Come to her aunt mama and be like, I did such and such and such. Like, yeah, transparency is one thing. Because we're transparent. She shares a lot with me. But there's some stuff that's probably deep in her inside. She couldn't share that with me. Because I'd be like, girl, what? Come here. You in trouble. You're about to get a whooping. Right. And
can I just tell a side story? One time I pretended to LaDawn PE that I was smoking weed. Do you remember?
Oh my goodness.
He was like, you what?
What? Oh my god.
But yeah, so that's a really good point that I didn't actually realise or even think about. So what advice would you give to people? Because I know you might not all be therapists, but you might be in ministry. So there's a lot of people in ministry. So what are some practical things people can do for that self-care piece, for that detaching from other people's problems?
You have to be at a place that you can say, I can pray for them, but I'm not your garbage can. So you don't come dump your garbage in me.
So can you talk on that a bit? Because I think that's something that I've struggled with in the past is not having my boundaries. So like, but I make it very clear to people, like, I am always here for you, and I mean that, and I do mean
Absolutely.
that. But how do you suggest establishing boundaries when it comes to, because I realise that you get to a place where there's people that will only come to you when there's a problem. Yes. Like, you are the friend that is going to give me advice. And I love being the friend that gives advice.
I'm that friend.
But when it's only that, and then you start realising, hold on, you haven't even asked me how I am. Do you know what I mean? So like, what advice would you give for establishing boundaries in those kind of relationships?
I'm very, very quick to speak up. Like, speak up. Like, be really clear on what, and then say, so when someone comes to you, be like, okay, so what do you want me to do with that? Like, being clear, like, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to pray? Do you want me to respond, or do you want me to just listen?
We had this conversation before with Mark, yeah.
And it's so important to just like outline that and have that be the front line of everything, and so they know ahead of time when you come to me, either what you want from me. Do you want me to respond? Do you want me to listen? Do you want me to
right?
Because it does get to a point like you feel like it's like people are coming to bleed on you, all just bleeding, just bleeding. And but there's a time and a place for that too. So know that there's definitely a time and a place for that. But when you feel like you are at a point that you cannot take any more blood, you can't bleed on me anymore, then you need to be able to say, you know what, we need to pump the brakes.
Yeah,
a little bit.
Because it's so true. Because there's literally some people that I have no intention of applying any advice you give me. I literally just want to vent. I literally just want to gossip. Even sometimes it's like, this is not for you to help me. It's just that I want to tell you this. In fact, beyond you listening, I want you to jump into this with me, and I want you to rant about it with me, and I just want to have a good old time having a conversation about this person or this situation. Do you ever come across that in any of your sessions where it's like, okay, this person is here to talk and that's it, and you find it hard? Like, do you ever see that a person is not applying what you're teaching or trying to give them as tools?
Yeah, but it's different when it's professionally.
Okay.
Because my job is, and I say this to my clients all the time, this is your 50 minutes. However you want to use this 50 minutes, I'm here for that.
Okay.
I can sit with you in your event, absolutely, and nod you through it. Or we can, talk, we can push back, we can, I can ask you questions that help you come to better decisions, or like, I'm not giving you advice. That's a misconception about counseling too, is that we give advice.
Ah, okay, because I've used the word advice a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so can you differentiate between you're not giving advice, you're giving...
Because what I never want to do is, so I don't give advice because I never want them to say, LaDawn said, blah, 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 blah. I would rather you say, you make the decision. I help kind of give you some questions to answer to help you kind of navigate your own decision. We might come to the same place because I'm navigating it, but I'm helping you navigate to get to that answer yourself, so you can have ownership in the fact that I came to this decision. This is my choice. This is my decision, and not like someone's overriding your choices and I'm making your mind up for you. And that's very enabling and very much like you're taking their power away. That's not good.
So you don't call it advice, you call it, what is it, guidance? Or like, what word would you use?
You can say guidance or
tools.
Yeah, giving tools.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing. So not only in this past couple of years has Hope Restored been a thing, but also Hustle Pray Eat.
Yeah.
So all that time. So Hustle Pray Eat for you, the last 2 years, what is your side of the story from the beginning? Like, what do you remember of those early stages?
A whole lot of boxes in my living room.
And then
whole lot. Yes. But I remember it like when Mark and Allison came over with the shirts on. Like that's dope. Like, where does this come from? Like, this is a sweet concept.
Yeah.
And just seeing it has been it's been blowing up. Like, and people will see it, and you see you in the street, and it's just like, people are like, oh, I love that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it resounds with people in so many different ways, and it's definitely resounded with me, and like, I think it's the majority of my wardrobe at present.
Absolutely. So being married to PE, you've seen him start a lot of things.
Yeah.
He's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
What, if anything, was different about this time? Did you see something different in him and his approach to it that made you think, okay, this one is...
My husband's passionate. He's just a passionate man, and what he does it with passion. So this is no different than that.
Okay.
Other than the fact that I think he found so much joy in doing it with his nephew.
Oh,
like, it was just like,
that's so beautiful.
I know, and I think it's super special to him because of that.
Yeah.
I think he loves that connection with Mark.
Yeah. And even wider now that it's like the whole family is involved, which is amazing. So
sweet.
How do you see your role in Hustle Pray Eat, like from the beginning to now? Has it changed? Has it stayed the same? Or how would you define your role in Hustle Pray Eat?
I think my role has pretty much stayed the same as far as that. I am PE's cheerleader. So like, kind of, helping him in the backgrounds with things, but then even like showing up and helping with pop-ups or like doing something because I enjoy.
And modeling.
Yeah, and modeling. Boop. That's what I do. But I love that kind of thing. But and then even just I guess supporting him in his endeavors, I think has been it's just a thing, and it's his love language too. As far as like he likes acts of service, somebody to just like come behind and like kind of help him and encourage him along the way. So I think it's just me being there, being being in the background, and just loving him.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. And so 2 years, so you know, and it's just the beginning really. So it's exciting to see like where it's going where it's going to go and stuff like that. Well, I just wanted to ask you quickly, because you mentioned love languages. Yes. So you do subscribe to the concept of the love languages. Which are yours, if you don't mind?
Gifts.
Mine too.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I love gifts. Giving and receiving.
Okay,
gifts.
But there's a misconception about gifts as a love language. I need to clarify. Okay, so gifts. I'm gonna get right in the mic.
Look how passionate! I love it.
It's not about the material things of giving it. It's that you are thinking of me when I'm not around you,
right?
Like, and you want to do something super special for me. I don't care if it's a note,
right?
An M&M,
right?
Like just like anything, just like. He thought of me. I'm
very sentimental, and I remember my brother went on holiday once, and he bought me this little owl. People always buy me owls because they call me Night Owl, and I just love it. Like I really love it. And he said to me, Jade, I could have brought you back a grain of sand, and you would keep it forever. Aww. And I think that is like literally how I am, because it's like, oh, you've given me this, you thought about me, and it's not about what the gift is either. So yeah, and is that just your only one?
That's my highest one. So I think words of encouragement would be number 2.
Oh, okay. Words of affirmation. Is that it?
Is it words of affirmation?
Is it? Yeah, that's mine too.
Oh, I'm like, wait, yes.
I think that's mine too. Yeah. Mine too as well. Yeah, gifts and words. What are your guys's?
My top 2 is quality time and physical touch.
Quality time and physical.
Keep your hands to yourself.
Right. You ain't married yet about physical touch. You better.
Boxing the other day. That counts.
Oh,
yes. Yes.
And then yours, Alison.
Words of affirmation.
Words of affirmation.
Quality
time.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So talking about love, actually, so Tank is marrying your daughter.
Yes.
So that's so exciting. I told you guys last time that I'm the fairy god sister.
Yes, she is,
and I can't wait.
Yes, she has some cool duties too for that day.
So how has that been for you? So this is your youngest child.
This is my baby.
Oh,
she's still a newborn in my eyes. Fresh out the womb.
So you're about to be an empty nester, because I live with LaDawn's other daughter, Tony. Yeah. So we moved out together. So how was this season of life for you?
Oh my goodness. Okay. So he's in here, but I still gotta say it. I absolutely love Tank.
You know,
he's like,
our nickname for him is Tank the Beloved.
Oh, beloved.
Because I just feel like everyone just loves him.
I love Tank.
For good reason.
I love him first next. So I absolutely love Tank. And that happened pretty early on. I just love his heart. And I love the way he loves my baby. That's big for me. Like,
Alison's crying.
Sorry. Okay.
Don't start me today.
Oh my goodness.
Well, these lashes gotta stay on. Okay.
Tank, are you
birthday
emotional?
Lashes. These are birthday lashes.
Oh, birthday lashes.
They gotta stay on. So I love the way he loves my baby. And I said it again. Why I said it again? But let me tell you why.
Yeah, tell us why.
His love of her reminds me of my husband's love for me. I just love it. And it's so... He gonna have to get out. It does. It reminds me of my husband's love for me. And I just...
and that's funny because people compare Tank and PE a lot.
I know.
That's so beautiful.
Moving on.
Because if you don't know about Mama LaDawn, she loves to plan.
I do.
Plan events, and she's bougie, guys. She's really...
I love that.
She's bougie. So what's this planning process been like for you?
Oh my.
Because we had a fun meeting the other day.
Oh, yes. So I love planning. I love parties, especially my own parties. So So I love parties.
Mhm.
So this has been fun. So my daughter is much simpler than I.
Mhm.
She's not quite as bougie as I am. So I have to like rope her in, be like, come on, we about to have a meeting now. Sit down. So yeah, but I'm enjoying it. I'm
Mhm.
enjoying it. It's changed. There's been several iterations of the wedding because of this COVID season that we're
COVID,
in.
yeah.
So we're have to downsize considerably,
Mhm.
but it's gonna be an amazing little event,
Oh my gosh.
but big event, and I'm
can't
looking
wait.
forward to. I don't know what kind of makeup I'm gonna be to wear because I'm be
No, I'm gonna be
a
bawling my
mess.
eyes out. I'm gonna be crying.
Okay, but let me tell y'all how PE is the one that's gonna be a mess. was
I
like,
think
I'ma
so
need
because
you.
they are best friends.
That's like his best friend. Aaron
Yeah.
is his best friend.
Like when she was away, she was like, Jade, Erin's my best friend.
know.
So he just really missed her because
I know.
they are best friends.
They are, and he was
It's so
like-
cute.
No, and he was like, he said we need to get a countdown on our phone for the
Oh.
wedding. I'm like, for what? He was like, she's gonna be leaving me.
Oh, yeah, I can. PE is gonna be.
So he was like, so
crying.
now yesterday he's like, so I think we should do a trip when they go on their honeymoon. We need to go somewhere too.
Oh.
I was like, okay, why? He's like, I don't know. I don't know.
Oh.
That's what he said. And he's like, yeah. He's like, I don't know if I want to see them for a while though. Like, I don't know. Look at him.
Right, it's true though.
So yeah,
I think Tank is gonna miss you guys too. Though.
Oh my gosh, no, he's not because
No.
he's gonna be with us always.
Tank,
He would live with us if we let
Do you
him.
remember when we went out to eat for Tony's birthday
Yes.
and P wasn't there, and
I
then Tank
know.
was so
He was sad.
he was literally sad. He was like, P ain't coming.
No. He loves
Well,
PE.
father, he calls him father.
Father's
so-
not coming.
Yeah, he looked so sad, but
So
I think it's so cute.
if they would let us,
Mhm.
he would live with us. Aaron would not. he would want to live with us after they get married. Not Aaron. No.
That is so cute. It's a beautiful thing though,
Yeah.
like because Tank just like fits into your
I
family,
know,
and I
I
think
love
it's
him
just so
so.
beautiful. It's like he was created for
I
Erin,
know.
right? Like when God was creating Tank, he had
Aw.
Erin in mind. Look at the door.
I just passed out. It's like a fan. Oh.
No, that is such a beautiful thing.
Mm.
So next
love
time you come on, I
Mm.
want you to come on with PA because
Ooh,
I
that's
wanted.
my boo.
I
I love him. Oh.
Oh, okay. Let me just say, these
love
two
each other.
love each other. You know what? Okay, let
my
us talk
goodness.
about this, right?
Butterflies
Because your
still.
favourite
I be sweating.
rappers are breaking up left, right, and centre.
She said.
No, but they are. Quavo, Sweetie. God bless you all.
Okay, that was too far.
But,
bless you all.
but our generation is quick to throw couple goals
Yeah.
on absolutely everybody just because she got a Birkin bag and he's got a grill.
Mm.
Like, just calm down, right? PE and LaDawn are couple goals.
Yes. Oh.
No,
I love that name.
honestly.
Mm.
And do you know what? Because I think it's such a privilege for me because not many people get to sit at their pastor's table. Do you know what I mean? Not many people get to see the fact that what P preaches, he lives it. So when he's he'll get on stage and tell Mama LaDawn how beautiful she is, and their love is not a secret. No, they're very public about that. They're affectionate.
Cringy even.
They really love each other, but it's the same in their home as well. Like P just absolutely adores you, and you absolutely adore him. And it honestly is couple goals. Like if you can't love me the way P loves LaDawn, I don't want it. Like keep it. So the fact that you've said the way Tank loves Erin reminds you of that. It's you even pass out, bougie. Like,
Right.
No, but honestly, like,
Mm.
oh, it is so beautiful. So one day I would love to have you guys on to really talk about that because I know that you've said, both of you have said that the first 3 years
Mhm.
for you as married, it was rough.
That's right.
And to get from that and to, because a lot of people these days, especially in our generation, we're a generation of instant gratification.
Mhm.
So 3 years is a long time to stick it out. Like these days, you know,
mhm.
6 months is long. Like
Mhm.
if we're going through a rough patch for that amount of time, I'm out.
Mhm.
So to get to 24 years, I believe.
I'll be 25 in August.
25 in August, right? So that's nearly as long as I've been alive. That's Alison's whole life. That's Tank wasn't even a thought.
Right.
So
God was thinking of you, Tank.
Right. Hello.
So to get to that, it would be really great to hear that story. But also, I'd really love to dig into your testimony, because we didn't even get to go there, because you know, you haven't always been a Christian. No. So that testimony, and then you were part of PE Salvation Story as well. So next time we get you on, it would be great to have you guys on together to really dig into how did you get to this point? Like, how is PE a pastor? Like, you know what I mean? That's a whole story. So you are the first lady of a hip hop church. I know you don't like it.
I love my hip hop church, though. I love the edge. Love everybody there. Miss everybody.
Right. Tell me the importance of the edge. Why does the world need the edge? From your perspective.
Freedom to worship. Just like freedom. Come as you are.
If there's any place you can come as you are.
As you are. So not just like, not talking about garb, but that's just one thing. But like raggedy, beat down, broken, or feel like you're together. Just come and have authentic worship. And just like get in your zone. You feel like you can worship, and you feel like you can just be in your own silo by yourself, you and Jesus, but you can still feel like I'm within a family. And we love the edge. Love it.
Love the edge.
Love it.
So as you guys know, the edge, we are a hip hop church. So we use hip hop for our worship. So a big thing that we're all about is Christian hip hop. And you have a song for me.
I do.
Have you got it on your phone?
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay, let's play it up there.
Okay.
So, you guys know every week I give my opinion, my first impression of a Christian hip hop song. So, Mark has been doing pretty well. Tank done well. Alison failed.
You just don't like women.
She thinks I don't like women.
Oh,
you don't.
Hold on.
Do you want to talk about when we talked about Women's Month?
No, I was just like, why do we need it?
See? Why do we need it?
Yeah. What's the point of a Women's Month? Why do we need it? Are you a woman?
Right. Like, who are
I
you?
do believe we need it.
No, she don't.
Wow.
I do.
Jade's just gonna keep getting canceled, y'all.
I know. Do you know I can't even follow people on Instagram now?
I can't even. Well, if you notice, nobody tags Osprey in our promo.
They can't.
You just gotta like type it up. There's no social
media. I think people, whoever's reported us. Oh my gosh, you're gonna make my editing hard.
Yeah.
But whoever it is, I think they keep reporting me because every week,
That's so funny to me.
You think it's funny?
Oh, that's so funny.
You look.
I don't think it's funny.
People famous, so
yeah.
Well, no, because if they can't follow me, but yeah. So tell us the name of the song and of the artist, and we'll get into it.
I gotta give a little background first.
Okay.
Just a little bit of background.
Yeah, go on.
So this particular song, we used to sing it at the old Edge church.
On Division.
On Division. Now, prior to coming to the Edge, well, I always listened to hip hop, hip hop junkie, but
she's a Pac fan too. Pac.
She said Pac, but she said Pac. But
it's not an O, it's an A.
But that ain't how he
Pac.
or the urban community pronounces it.
Well,
I'm British.
Oh, oops. And she says trolley.
Oh yeah, say trolley instead
trolley.
Of. Do you know what a lorry is?
A lolly?
A lorry.
No.
Oh, you told me. It's a semi truck.
Yeah.
Lorry.
Lorry. Have you ever heard the word doolally?
No.
Oh,
Doolally. I like the way it sounds though. Doolally.
doolally.
What is that?
Like a bit deranged.
Oh, I like it. Doolally.
Yeah.
Cute. Cute.
But yeah, so the background.
So background. So this song
Mhm.
was we used to sing it back at the old church. But for me, like, okay, love hip hop, always love hip hop. But I had an issue, like I didn't feel like I could be worshipful
Mm-hmm.
with hip hop until this song. And it just
Ah.
like changed my whole thinking of
Ah,
hip hop and
okay.
worship.
Okay.
So
who is it and what's it called?
it is the Ambassador,
Okay.
and it's called Gimme That.
Ooh, give me that.
You remember Chris Brown?
Yeah, that's what I was just thinking, innit?
That was not what you were just saying.
I was trying.
Oops.
She said, give me,
Oh,
that.
okay.
Amber, give me that fire, fire, back. Give me that flame, flame, flame. Give me that, give me that, give me that. Absolutely, you can give me that. If it's mine, if it's good for me, give me that. I want it all. Give me that Bible. Give me that mic, I'll drop Jesus in it, wait so we can make a disciple. Can't surpass Christ, there's no taking his title. A passion for Christ, I'll have you praying for revival. Give me my city, yeah, give me that. Less fish, gospel of peace, yeah, you can give me that. Fresh kicks, give me that. Rest with your blessing, Lord, I'm desperate. You gave me your life, so I look forward to my exit. I used to be a punk kid, used to want to run with dudes who wanna hunt to turn our ones into hundreds. Used to want to blunt to be blunt, I wanted trees just to alter my mind. Now I find I'm wanting Jesus. Used to wanna roll mad deep with a street clip. Wanna hold the heat on the low like a secret. God spirit penetrated my soul on the sneak tip. Took control, now I'm in the soul like a leaflet. Give me that fire, give me that flame. Give me that fresh wind, give me that rain. Give me that freedom, you can have the chains. Give me that God who can give me all things. Give me that fire, flame. Give me that fresh wind.
Okay, so
Give me that freedom.
well done, Mama LaDawn.
I want the clip of her singing.
Oh,
Yep.
oh, you can sing. Do you want to
Yep,
sing
she
for
sure
us?
can.
No thanks.
No, I really did like that. I think that I can definitely see the chorus during a worship set, so I can imagine that was really, really good. I've got a question for you. Do you like the song "Sweet Victory"?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
You don't?
No. But you know what? I haven't heard it on set for a long time.
I like
There's a
Sweet
reason for
Victory.
that.
Why? What's the reason?
That's off record.
Sweet Victory.
Oh, okay. You gotta tell me though.
I still have my.
Are you allowed to tell
businesses
me?
I need to shout out.
He's a Calvinist. I'm not. No,
Oh,
swear.
so it's like a spiritual reason.
Girl,
It just.
off record.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Okay, I'm just
did it a lot.
okay. Okay. Anyway, okay. I've got one more question for you, and this is a research question. When Jesus says
Uh-oh.
to turn the other cheek,
Mm.
what does that mean to you?
So
I'm preaching about this tomorrow, so I'm
Mm.
trying to see what other people's perspective is.
I think it's talking about forgiveness
Mhm.
and forgiving repeatedly.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, turn the other cheek and forgiving.
Okay. Okay, guys. So sorry.
I gotta shout out my
So
black
we.
businesses too.
Huh?
I got some black businesses I need to shout out.
Oh, okay. So we're going to shout out the black businesses. Then we're going to remind you guys of the Welcome Back show, which is happening on Friday. So, okay. So you got some black businesses. So
Okay.
hit us.
All right, so I wanted to make sure that I represented some black businesses today in my attire.
Dripping.
So, of course, Hustle, Pray, Eat. Hello.
www.hustleprayeat.com for your Hustle Pray Eat apparel.
Oh.
And sorry, can we just get into the new hoodie?
Okay,
please?
because that's fresh. Hello.
Mhm.
You pulled that.
Love, and then I got the little check.
Jack, ching, ching.
And then I got the bag is
Okay, and so Hustle, Pray, Eat.
mm-hmm.
And then In Fable Socks.
In Fable Socks. Look at
Socks.
those.
You see those? Okay, but then let's shout out Tony Love. That's my baby. She did the custom Converse.
Love
so
those.
look into her for your
So
custom
were
Converse.
these just red?
They were red at one point.
Wow.
And now Tony did the customs on these. Tony Love. That's her artist name.
Mm-hmm.
And then did Infable socks with the Thai Abanda. That's the socks. Oh, and then if you smell, I don't know if anybody smells my new fragrance. It's another black-owned company called The Fragrance Bar. And the fragrance is Vagina Fairies. But not, they didn't say vagina, but fairies.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
What?
I know what you're saying.
That's the fragrance smell, and it smells amazing. Vagina Fairies.
It's for...
That just threw me.
Yeah, it's for me too.
Because
What?
it's not vagina is the word, is it?
It's not.
Is it?
It's a bad,
Yeah.
the bad
Is
word.
it P?
It's
Yeah.
a P word. But fairies. But it smells amazing. And they have another one that's that fragrance of butt neck.
Okay, can I just... Oh!
And it's amazing
Can I
though.
just
I'm
ask
gonna say
you, what drew you to...
That?
to that fragrance?
Really?
So on this black owned company, their ad, like all these people were talking about the smell of this fragrance and how it was just amazing. And I love like fruity, flowery, fruity smells.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I would really love to try that, but I just, yeah. So the name threw me off, but I was like, I still want to try it. So I bought the Vagina Fairy and Butt Naked.
Oh my goodness.
And they smell, when I tell you they smell amazing.
Is it an oil or...
Mm-hmm.
It's
an
an oil.
It's a roll-on oil, and it's by the Fragrance Bar. It's amazing.
Wow. So there you go. So you have Tony Love for your custom. You have socks.
Socks by Infable Socks.
Infable Socks. Ata Abunde.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Hustle, Pray, Eat. And talking of Hustle, Pray, Eat, we are presenting to you the Welcome Back Show. Like we said, happening here on the 26th of this month. That is this Friday. So if you have not got your tickets, then please, please, please get your tickets now. You can go to Eventbrite, just type in Stephen Malcolm or type in Welcome Back and we will come up. Get your tickets. I'm sure that they're going to sell out. I'm sure that VIP are going to sell out. Mm-hmm. And what's very exciting about VIP is that you will get to have conversation with the artists that we have. Nice. So that's conversation with Stephen Malcolm, Mark the Bad Guy, our very own Tank, and Zay Jones. And what's exciting, these are all GR artists.
Yes, they are.
All local. So this is a home show. Yes. So we are expecting you guys to come out because we know it's GR's first CHH concert in a very long time. Mm-hmm. Look, we haven't had one since COVID. So make sure you guys come out and support.
Come out of lockdown. Yes.
Yeah, so next week's episode will be a lot different because you will see that live interaction between the VIP audience and our artists. So that's exciting. So, yeah, do you have anything else?
I don't. This is awesome. Thanks for having me.
Did you enjoy it? How do you feel?
Did. I feel great. Thanks for having me. It's my birthday.
Oh, yes! Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
I was thinking that we was going to like do a medley, but something happened.
She really likes to sing.
It's your birthday.
Okay.
Birthdays are the worst days. Oh no, we don't sip champagne. But anyway. Okay, guys. So thank you for joining us for Hustle Pray Eat the podcast, episode 21. Thank you so much, Mama LaDawn, for being here. I will see you guys next week.
Flame. Give me that. Give me that. Give me that. Absolutely, you can give me that. If it's mine, if it's good for me, I want it all.